Wow. Florida State made a statement tonight. What a game. It was very, very competitive at first, but Florida State came out in the second half and just exploded on LSU. I was wrong. I predicted LSU to win this matchup, but boy, Florida State, man. Speaking about Florida State all season, I was saying, Florida State got a team, and I made a video where I was talking about Jordan Travis coming back was going to be huge for them. And boy, did he make a difference. And those wide receivers, man, just everything about Florida State was really, really good in this matchup. And I'm going to just go ahead and read the stats. Very good win for Florida State. They dominated LSU in the second half. I'm going to read off the stats. Jordan Travis, he had 23 completions with 31 attempts for 342 yards passing with 4 touchdowns and 1 interception. Uh, it was one part in the game where, he looked kind of rattled, it seemed like he was just trying to force things, and he threw an interception and stuff like that. Got kind of rattled. LSU was getting after him at first. That D-line was getting a lot of pressure, and initially, boy, not Florida State, but LSU's defensive line was pushing back Florida State's offensive line initially at first, but Florida State made the adjustments and they settled down and was able to pick up the blitz and stuff like that. But boy, um, they did a phenomenal job. And Florida State's wide receivers are huge, man. I mean, those guys, man, it really benefited Florida State going in the transfer portal and getting these tall receivers, man. They just did a phenomenal job. And I'm going to get into that later. But, yeah, Florida State did a phenomenal job, man. Keon Coleman, like I said, one of the wide receivers they got out of the transfer portal from, I believe he's from Michigan State. Beast of a player. He had 11 targets. He had 9 receptions for 122 yards receiving with 3 touchdowns. This guy right here, LSU didn't have, an answer for this guy. I mean, this guy was all over the field. They could not stop him. He could do anything he wanted to do. Um, LSU greatly, struggled with him in particular. Next guy, uh, Wilson at wide receiver. He had a good day. He didn't get any touchdowns, but he still was able to get 104 receiving yards. So you got 2 wide receivers that got over 100 yards. I mean, like I said, man, it's just a mismatch. You got these big, tall, lengthy guys at wide receiver, man. Just hard to keep up with. Jaheim Bell, he got a touchdown. He had 49 reception yards. Uh, he was able to get a passing touchdown. I think he got a rushing touchdown as well. Let me see. Yeah, Jaheim Bell, yeah, he got one 4-yard rushing touchdown. Like I said, man, just dangerous. And, of course, Jordan Travis got a rushing touchdown as well. He had 38 yards rushing. Like I said, he's just hard to catch, man. Like, he's very, very good at avoiding pressure. You know, um, he was the smarter quarterback, in my opinion. He had more in his tool belt than Jaden Daniels did. And just Florida State defense, too, man. Verse, all them guys, man, they just did a phenomenal job. It was really, really hard to stop those guys up front. They had a lot of guys just rushing. Um, Jaden Daniels, he just couldn't do anything. But they did a phenomenal job. Florida State, man, like I said, pass yards. I'm going to just read off the total stat. Pass yards, they got 359 passing yards. Rushing yards, they was able to get 136 on the ground with a total of 495 yards of offense. Florida State won the game 45-24. It was 45-17, but LSU was able to get a touchdown late, in the fourth quarter. Speaking of that, I'm going to read off LSU's stats. LSU, Jaden Daniels, he didn't do too bad. He just, the yards didn't equal up to, a touchdown. He was only able to get 1 touchdown. He threw for 347 yards. He also had a costly interception, that put Florida State in good, uh, good feeling, for them to score. But Jaden Daniels, like I said, he was doing fine, but he has great scrambling ability. He broke a couple of runs on Florida State's defense. So it was a lot of back and forth with the passing, but Jordan Travis made his stick. Jaden Daniels. And another thing, LSU, they got to clean up special team miscues, man. Aaron Anderson, one of the guys that left us from Alabama, very talented wide receiver, but he had uh, dropped that punt and put Florida State in good position. They definitely have to look at that. He did better later on, but that's definitely something that LSU wants to, uh, correct that. That was a problem last year and last matchup. And last year's matchup, Florida State won by a point, but Florida State made a statement, man. Jaden Daniels rushing, he was the leading rusher. Once again, he had 64 yards rushing on the ground. Josh Williams, he had 44 rushing yards. And that's interesting. That's what I wanted to see. LSU was only able to get 113 rushing yards. Passing yards, they was able to get 347. Total yardage, they got 460. So Florida State, just made halftime adjustments. And if I'm not mistaken, up until, Jaden Daniels throwing that last touchdown, LSU didn't even score, in the second half until that, uh, last touchdown in, garbage time. But, I mean, LSU has some things they have to work on. Thomas Jr., though, he did have a good day. He had 142 yards receiving with one touchdown. Malik Neighbors, where was he? I didn't really see him too much. He was able to get 67, receiving yards. Bradford, he got 55 yards receiving. Tight end Mason Taylor, he got 39 yards receiving. Lacey, he got 37. Aaron Anderson only has 7 yards. I mean, LSU definitely has to get their passing game going, and definitely need to fix their secondary. I know they went in transfer portal and got a lot of guys out the transfer portal, but they got to clean that secondary up. It was too many times where wide receivers were wide open in the secondary. Um, Going forward, LSU got to correct that. I know they went in the portal to try to rectify that issue, but those guys got to gel on the back end because Florida State was bailed out plenty of times, on third down, and they was able to convert, So uh, going forward, LSU got a lot of things they got to fix. Uh, I was wondering why they didn't try to make a change. I'm pretty sure Jaden Daniels got majority of the first team reps, in fall camp, but Garrett Nussmeier, he's a gunslinger. He can pass the ball, and I wonder if he would have made a difference in this matchup. But nevertheless, Florida State completely dominated LSU. I did not see this coming. I thought LSU was going to win the game, but I thought it was going to be close. Florida State had a lot to say about that. Not only did they look good offensively, but defensively they looked really, really good. Florida State's definitely moving up. Um, they did a phenomenal job. And LSU is not no slouch, guys. There was a huge victory over a great LSU team. LSU was returning a lot of talent from last season, and it's no excuse. Um, I'm giving Florida State all the credit. I knew they was going to be good, but I didn't think they was going to be this good to be able to just throttle LSU like that. They just looked like the more physical team out there. It was running backs was dragging people. I mean, they looked really, really good out there. Trey Benson, yeah, he was just out there dragging people, man. It just looked ugly for LSU. But that's all I have for the stats, man. Florida State, definitely a team to be looking out for. And I said, when doing the prediction, I was saying this game right here is going to tell a lot about both teams. And Florida State is legit, in my opinion. LSU can still, it's not over yet for them. They can still, come back. They can use this as a motivating factor, going forward. And the good thing about this matchup is that it's not going to affect, LSU and the SEC. they can still make a run in the SEC and get to the championship. But it's still a loss, and a huge loss in my opinion. They gotta turn this around and try to rectify this. But congratulations to the Florida State Seminoles, and it's gonna be interesting to see what they do going forward. They still have Clemson in the conference and other teams, but in my opinion, it's really Florida State and Clemson, and they get to play Clemson early in the season, so uh, the sky's the limit for Florida State. Possibly can get in the playoffs. I mean, they showed that was a dominant performance by Florida State. Hats off to them, LSU. Get back, try to get back and put things back together and focus on the next opponent. And y'all can definitely come back. There's no doubt about that. LSU is talented just as any team out there. But what do you guys think? Leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. And once again, if you haven't, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And I'll definitely be back with more college football content. Thanks, guys, and roll tide.